Hey, this is the World Advice Channel. What I want to talk about today is the truth about the Jeffrey Epstein list. So, before I get into the topic, what I want to discuss today, I just want to mention that what this video is going to be about is so you don't feel like you're wasting your time, is it's going to be about discussing the people who run this planet and how the Jeffrey Epstein list reveals them for who they are. So if this video is not for you, go and watch another video, okay? But this video is more something where I will discuss in depth about what it reveals about the people who run this planet and even a lesson to learn from this, okay? So if you're not really into that, then watch another video. If you want to know more about the list itself, but if you want to actually know what it reveals about the people who run this planet, then watch this video and you won't be disappointed. So anyway, let's get started. So the first thing I want to discuss when it comes to talking about the Jeffrey Epstein list and what it reveals about the people who run this planet, which I said I was going to discuss and I'm going to discuss, is the truth about the Jeffrey Epstein list and what it reveals about the world we live in, of course, related to the people who run it, is it just reveals the truth about them, which is very true. Is that the people who run this world are some not just weirdos, but are creeps. As the thing is, a lot of people, not only just simply powerful politicians, but a lot of very successful people from several different industries were named in his list. Everything from people like Naomi Campbell, Stephen Hawking's, and so on and so forth have been revealed in this list. Okay? So the truth of the matter is, a lot of the people who, simply put it, run this planet in some way or another, and just in general, very powerful, influential people who lead this world are pedophiles, no matter how you look at it. And even if they're not directly pedophiles, they're people who, of course, hung around Jeffrey Epstein, who I'm certain as clear as day they could have found out is a pedophile. Okay? And the truth of the matter is, it just shows you who the people who run this world are. They are some sick individuals. That's the truth about this world. We are run by some sick people, okay? So whenever in life you kind of wonder why the world is as unfair as it is, and this and that, like for example, why we have rules and laws, like for example, that prevent people from defending themselves when they're attacked, and they if they attack back, they get in trouble, while the person who started it doesn't get in trouble. To other particular issues of clear and fairness that is going on in the world, for that matter, in many several different ways, whether racial discrimination and this and that, whatever. Looking at that list and the fact that so many people, powerful people in this world, are pedophiles, kind of shows you why the world is the way it is. Because the people who run the world in general in the first place don't have any morals. So if you are run by a world of people in the first place who don't have any morals, you cannot expect to live in a truly moral society. And even explains why the world is pushing some weird, creepy stuff nowadays. Everything from having women do, at a very young age, do beauty pageants and even dress up like they're a lot older, to all the weird stuff they're trying to push in the media, like gay, like same-sex relationships and forcing it on people and this and that. That right there is an example of why the world is the way it is. It is run by some weirdos. And not just weirdos, but some sick people who have no morals whatsoever. So that's what I want to say. And to further go on with my point about the people who run the world, is that, and not just the people who run the world, but how it shows you the truth about the world, is it just shows you that for the world we live in, the truth about the world we live in general, is the world we live in is not what you think it is, okay? And a lot of the people who get the best things from life, in all honesty, did these things to get to where they are. Because I'm not necessarily one who believes that the people who run the world are devil worshippers, but the people who run this world, at some point, when you go higher and higher and higher, expect you, and it has been shown, to partake in that disgusting pedophilic crap. that they want you to do in order to be around them. And even if you're not necessarily do that stuff, if you don't do that stuff for some way somehow, they you still have to be around and associate with those people. So that kind of shows you who you are in the end of the day. You're a weirdo. So what it shows about the world, to further elaborate my point, is that the world we live in is not as great as we think it is. As a lot of the people we grew up watching, whether it could be people like Jeffrey Epstein, P. Diddy, and this and that, are not as happy as they made themselves out to be. Because a lot of the people who run this, who became successful, had to do this shit in some way, shape, or form. Whether they abuse other people or they were abused. Okay? For them to become as successful as they are in the world today. Because the truth about the world, not many people notice this, and I'm going to speak the honest truth about it. The world we live in is empty. You know, it's empty. It's not really as great as people make it out to be. Most people who are at the bottom are unhappy because they wish they could be at the top, and a lot of the people who are in the middle might be a bit more happy, but they still wish to be at the top, and the people at the top are miserable. If anything, a lot of them wish to be at the bottom. Okay? The world we live in general is miserable. And the world in general, if you could see the energy level representing how happy people are, and how much energy there is in the world, like in terms of like overall collectively how great or how happy people feel, it would not even be even that intense. It would be very hollow. Most people in the world are miserable, and the world we live in and how we are expected to see it versus how it actually is not there. And a lot of the people who exposed, even aside from my point, a lot of people who also exposed the truth about the people who run this world and all the stuff they were doing were hated on, were made fun of, criticized, and called all sorts of names. Now, what are they saying today? There you go. And that brings me to my lesson for this video. Okay, aside from revealing the truth about the people running the world. And what my lesson for this world, for this video is, more specifically, is that it just shows you that just because a lot of people in the world say something does not necessarily mean it is true. Okay? Because back in the days, especially when, of course, the world was in a better state than it is now, a lot of people were blinded by things, okay? And a lot of these things you are saying now, people are realizing now is true. People would have been criticized, made fun of 15, 20 years ago, even had rocks or even get death threats for saying this type of stuff, okay? And instead of the general public going like, maybe, I don't necessarily believe it, but maybe it could be a possibility. We have to further elaborate. The general public back then, when life was better 15, 20 years ago, would have just made fun of you. They wouldn't even have looked at it and say, oh, that's bullshit. Let's forget about this crap. Now who's laughing now? So it just goes to show you in life, just because a lot of people say something, and even for that matter, the majority of people say something, does not mean it's correct. Okay? And that's something people don't understand about this world. The world we live in, we are taught to think if the majority of people say something, then it must be true. But a majority of people in the world, just because they say something doesn't mean it's true. They're humans just like everyone else in the world. They are just as likely to make mistakes and make mistakes as just like an intellectual who runs things is able to make mistakes. Just because a lot of people say something does not mean it is true. Just like if you go to places where people mistreat you, the majority of people in the world will probably say something about you and say, oh, you will never amount to anything in life. And the next thing you know, if you believe in yourself, you realize quickly, all the stuff they were saying, 90 to 95%, and even more of what they were saying is crap. You are doing way better, even in the early stages, than they would have imagined you would have been able to do. And that's what I want people to know. Don't just believe in life just because a lot of people say something, or the masses, whatever you like to say, the majority of people say something, it is necessarily a fact. Because all these things people were saying 10 plus years ago, people said it was complete shit, it's not true and this and that. Now we're seeing it is true. So don't just listen to what one person says and believe it. And that's what people need to realize. A fact is a fact. Logic is logic. No matter how much people say something does not necessarily mean it's true. And that's what you need to understand about this world. And that's a lesson for this video. And I hope if you watch this for far enough, you will learn that lesson. Not only as does this video reveal the truth about the people who run this planet and how the world actually is, it is also describing the fact that the world we live in has a lot of people who say something and they believe, oh, because the majority of people say something is true, and they're proven wrong. And that's something I wanted to add to it for a lesson to also get to as well. And this is my video. This is all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you subscribe and thumbs up this video if you like this video and like videos like this. And this all I have to say. And that's all. Simply put it, later.